Hey guys, welcome back. So in the last few episodes, I built a little boat out of milk jugs and a wooden cross frame. And it actually worked. It floated. That proved the idea totally works. You really can build a stable little boat with just a couple of bottles and some wood. But floating is only half the story, right? A real boat needs to actually go somewhere. And that's what this video is all about. Giving my bottle boat some real power. Now, there are a bunch of ways to push a boat forward, underwater propellers, surface props, all kinds of stuff. But I decided to go with something a lot older, a paddle wheel. Why? Because it works almost exactly like the little RC car I already had. That car has two wheels, each driven by an N20 motor, both hooked up to one ESC and controlled with a standard RC transmitter. I realized I could basically swap the wheels for paddle wheels, drop the whole system onto my boat, and in theory, it should work. So I designed these big white paddle wheels. They're pretty simple, 6 blades each. There were two main problems I needed to solve. First, the size. If they were too big, the motors would draw away too much current. Too small, and they wouldn't move any water at all. Second, the connection. The N20 motors uses a D-shaped shaft, and usually the plastic car wheel fits super tight, but 3D printed PLA isn't the same. After a few times pulling them on and off, they get loose. And if a paddle wheel falls off in the middle of the river, yeah, game over. So I made a little black adapter piece. Think of it as disposable. It bolts to the paddle wheel with 4 screws, and then presses onto the motor shaft super tight. Once it's on, it's not coming back off. If I need to swap, I'll just print a new adapter. And honestly, it was tough to get on. I had to hammer it in. No way it's coming off in the water. So yeah, that gave me a ton of confidence. Next, I built a wooden mount to hold the motors at the right height. On the RC controller, I mapped the left stick up down to one motor and the right stick up down to the other, kind of like tank steering. When I wired everything up and tested it, it worked great. Now, where do you put all the electronics? That's always the problem. For this test, I kept it super simple. I taped the receiver and the battery inside plastic zip bags and just hung them on a wooden pole like a little flag. It looks kind of ridiculous, but hey, it kept them out of the water. The ESC stayed on the board. It's already wrapped in heat shrink, so I wasn't super worried. With all that extra weight in the back, I didn't even need my old magnet counterweights anymore. And then came the fun part, water testing. At first, I went down to one spot, but man, there must have been like 10,000 mosquitoes waiting for me. They swarmed me instantly. I couldn't even swim, and I stepped straight into the water by accident. So I bailed and went back to the same river I used last time. Much better spot. Even though I added motors, I still tied a safety line, just in case. First check, how deep do the pedals sit in the water? Looked perfect. So I hit the throttle a little, and boom, it worked. I spun one pedal, and the boat immediately started to turn. That was the first sign this was actually gonna work. Then it was time for the first real power run. And honestly, it was faster than I expected. These N20 motors are pretty high RPM, so I didn't even have to push the sticks all the way. Maybe a third throttle at most, and it was cruising. At first, it was tough because I was holding the camera in one hand and trying to run two sticks with the other. Looked pretty goofy, but I got a hang of it. The boat went 4 or 5 meters out, no problem. I let out more line so it could go further. This river is about 50 meters wide, and the boat made it halfway across, right up to a big blue floating platform. Then I turned it around and brought it back. The coolest part, it could almost spin in place. With the two pedals running opposite, the turning radius was tiny. super easy to control. After bringing it back to shore, I checked all the electronics. As it turns out, the paddles kicked water up onto the wood, the motors, and the wiring. The paper tape I used on the connectors was soaked. The ESC looks fine, and the receiver and the battery in the zip bag was basically dry. A few drops of water, that's it. To my surprise, everything survived way better than I thought. So yeah, the first power test was a complete success. The paddles pushed plenty of water, the boat was stable, and the control system worked great. Next time, I'll ditch a safety line and let it run free. I still need to test in an area with weed to see if the paddles get tangled, but that's for another day. That's it for this episode. Super happy with how this test went. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.